Hello. Well, no guitar today because I'm here to talk about some physical and mental exercises you can use to help progress your guitar technique even when you don't have an instrument available. These are the kind of things you can do when travelling on public transport, while you're sitting watching the television, in your coffee break at work, in fact any time you have an idle moment or two that needs filling in. Let's begin with some exercises to develop coordination and independent movement in the fingers. These are similar to the kind of rudiments you would practice on the fretboard of the guitar. So if you take your right arm and pretend it's a guitar neck, take it in the grip in which you hold your guitar and work the fingers individually, in pairs, in threes, and in groups. For example, the classic piano player's exercise of alternating fingers 1 and 3 with fingers 2 and 4. You can use combinations of 3 and 1, and so on through all the permutations. From here you can also practice stretching movements in the left hand with 1 finger, 2 fingers, 3 fingers in the opposite direction, 2 and 3. Now if you're in a public place and you feel a little self-conscious about playing an imaginary guitar, you can do similar exercises discreetly on a tabletop or on the top of your knee. And fingerstyle players can devise a similar set of exercises to develop independent movement in the fingers of the right hand. Next we'll move on to something perhaps a little more basic, and that's to build the muscles which operate the fingers, primarily these along the forearm here. I have here a plastic drink bottle. You could use something like a stress ball, squash ball, a tennis ball. If you wanted to go more high-tech, you can buy specially made grip exercises, generally consisting of a pair of bars with a spring in between, although more sophisticated models come with an individual spring for each finger. And if your local music store doesn't stock these, you can find them in sports shops. If you have no sort of gadgetry available at all, you can perform a similar exercise simply by gripping the opposite arm with each hand. Whatever you're using, the exercise is extremely straightforward. You simply squeeze and release, repeatedly until you begin to feel the strain in the muscles of the forearm, but not to the point where you start to experience any kind of pain or cramping. That's the route to repetitive strain injury, which can take a very long time to recover from. You can also repeat this exercise with the right hand. Even if you're a plectrum player, it's basically the same set of muscles that operate the pick, and they still need exercising. Now, this has done some work on the muscles that are used to place the fingers on the fretboard, but of course you can only put your fingers down as fast as you can pick them up, so it's important to exercise the muscles that raise the fingers as well. For this, you can use a simple elastic band. Just wrap the band around your fingers and repeatedly open the hand against the pressure of the band and relax again. To develop and preserve mobility and flexibility in the joints of the fingers and wrist, I have these. These are a Chinese invention which you can find in Oriental stores or alternative medicine outlets, and you simply take them in your hand and rotate them in both directions. And again repeat with the right hand. Well, that's some physical exercises. Now how about training your brain? One thing you can always do is work on your timekeeping and rhythm. If you have a pocket metronome or a metronome app on your smartphone, you can set a basic beat going and practice assorted rhythms against it by tapping or clapping. You can take these rhythms from actual songs, you can use rhythms from strumming exercises, reading exercises, exercises for drummers even, or simply concoct your own. If you don't have any kind of metronome available, you can rather less reliably keep the beat yourself with a tapping foot or a nodding head, or use one hand to keep the beat while the other hand plays a syncopated rhythm. You can even build in a little right arm practice by creating the rhythm with strumming motions against the side of your body. Ear training is always another good thing to work on. To do this, you can record for yourself a selection of intervals and chords, randomize them, dump them onto a disc or MP3, and then listen back and pick them out by ear. Unless you're blessed, or perhaps I should say cursed, with perfect pitch, you won't be able to name specific notes, but you can learn to recognize the intervals of the scale and to distinguish between the major, minor, and the various types of seventh chord. You should ensure that you have a large enough set of samples that you don't end up simply memorizing the order they appear in, and of course you should always keep a record somewhere of what they are so that you can verify that you've got them right. If you don't want to go to the trouble of recording them for yourself, you can download a selection of ear training exercises from the internet, and I believe some of them are free. Finally, if you want to work on your sight reading skills, whether that's conventional notation or tablature, you can make yourself up a little pack of flashcards, each containing a single note, a chord, or a short musical phrase in a variety of key signatures and time signatures. Shuffle them up, and every now and then pull one out at random and see how quickly you can identify it. And also perhaps visualize where you would play it on the guitar if you had one. Well, I hope you'll find at least some of those ideas useful to you. In the next video we're going to return to the main theme of this series and begin relating the pentatonic scale patterns to our common chord progressions. So I look forward to our next meeting. Goodbye for now.